Welcome to episode 3
of Chits and Chats. You guys, we're back.
We're back and we're ready. This is gonna be juicy.
This is a juicy episode, I'm not even gonna lie. I need to take a sip of coffee first because my mouth feels a little bit droog.
Yeah, it's those nerves kicking in.
So we ended the last episode where you basically admitted that you had feelings for me.
Yes.
And I reciprocated.
Oh, thank goodness.
Thank goodness for that. Honestly, me neither. I would have probably, I don't know.
Melted. Literally been like,
take me into the floor now. I want to know, how was the first few months, honestly a year, a little bit over a year, when we admitted to each other that we liked each other?
you know, because that was like June, right?
Yes.
My birthday. So I feel like obviously the first few days, few weeks, we actually still, it was my birthday in Stellenbosch, but we celebrated just before my actual birthday. Then we still went to Hermanus.
Oh, yes.
Remember that?
With the mutual friend that introduced us to each other.
Yes, and we basically went to celebrate the birthday there.
Yeah.
Had a great weekend. Definitely some interesting times.
Some very interesting times, and nobody knew because we were definitely in the closet still.
Oh, yes. Figuring out like what,
Yeah.
even like that first morning after when I woke up, I'm like, did I really say that last night?
Like, what really happened last night?
Like, was I dreaming? And then
Was it
when
a
I
nightmare?
saw her, I'm like, do you remember? And yeah,
we both
kinda,
we do.
yes, this
But we're just
definitely
gonna
happened.
suck it up and go to Hermanus and basically hide it from everybody. Well,
Yes.
tried. Apparently, my mom said she knew the first time you came to my house, something's brewing there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, but she never told me. She said she was waiting for me to basically talk to her about it myself. But I mean, it's super hard, especially talking from someone, and I know you can relate on that has never been with a woman or that has never had those thoughts. Like, if you don't know that you're gay or you don't know that you're interested in women, I won't be able to relay that to someone else, and like they're going to be like, so what are you? Like, okay, so what is it? I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know
figuring
what I
out.
am. Yeah.
But one moment that really stood out to me that weekend, it was so funny. So we went wine tasting and then met a few of your friends from Hermanus, and there was one person that I didn't really realize until you said it to me, that actually was interested in me. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
And I remember
it was a guy.
It was a guy.
Yes. One of my very good friends, actually.
Yes. And so we went to the wine farm.
We're not going to name his name because he's married now, and we don't want to cause trouble.
No, love him though.
Love him though, he's amazing.
Yes. And I still remember on our way out that night, you kind of just said to me, you're like, so this person I think is interested in you, and like I just wanted to know because like I really like you.
Yeah,
and like
I had to solidify something.
Yes, and basically she just said like, I don't want you to hook up with him, and I'm like, I don't want to, and that's the moment where I really knew like, okay, my feelings are real.
Yeah.
This is it. And anyways, had a great weekend.
Went back to
Res, back to Stellenbosch, kind of just figuring out, what was going on. Definitely still in the closet because we were like,
100%.
Me personally too, I'm like, how do I explain this? Like, I was really in my head, like trying to figure out, like, I've never been interested in a woman before, and I'm like, how would I?
Weird. Like,
it was weird.
It felt misfitted. What do you call it?
It just felt like out of place in a way, but also at the same time, like I had butterflies like every day, and we were sending each other messages this long on WhatsApp,
with like hearts and emojis. And my roommate at the time was like, I don't text my friends like that. Like, okay, but I do. Almay was like, there's definitely something going on here. And you would like come into my room and like we would watch movies in bed together. Like sometimes you would sleep over in my bed. my roommate was probably like, y'all, come now.
Like what is going on?
Just be real now.
Yeah.
Tell us. Because
Exactly.
we all know, and I know I'm gonna say her name because she loves us and she's such a big supporter. Anya Visa.
Yes.
She was also like, I love her so much, but she was definitely one of the first people that I told to, and she was off the bat, she was like, oh, I knew. Like, you guys were trying to hide it, and you guys were trying to be like, oh, we're just friends. But she said, everybody in Isla Thomas course
basically
knew.
And we were just like so oblivious, like, niemand weet nie.
Ons is besties.
Ons is besties.
Yeah.
Just meanwhile, back at the ranch, everyone knew.
And they were just waiting for us to basically be like, okay, so this is it. We love each other, we like each other, and this is... You know?
Yes, and honestly, I think a big thing why I was personally still like very, trying to hide it. Like, my mom is pretty homophobic, and I kind of knew that. Just in general, linking back into our previous episode where you were saying like growing up in a very conservative household. Like,
yes.
My family was exactly the same. Soos Afrikaner boere mense.
Yes.
We love them. We love them,
yes.
and like love them so much, and really, but I was obviously being an only child, like just being raised only by my mom, like
yes.
I was very worried about like what, I didn't want to disappoint her, like I was worried about like what she was thinking, and in my mind, in that time, I was like, I could never tell her, you know.
Because you knew what the outcome was going to be before it actually came to it.
Exactly. So I think that honestly, not the first few weeks, but I think eventually that did start having a toll kind of on our relationship, because, for example, we would go out in town and like go to a restaurant, and like she would want to hold my hand, and I'd always be like, you can't, who's gonna see us? Like,
who's gonna tell my mom? Like,
literally, that was for months. It went on like that, and that was tough. I knew my feelings, and I knew that I loved her, honestly. But it was just like navigating that, like, I was torn the whole time between like having to basically lie to my mom and like having to also want to just show Ame that I love her. Like, it was really. It was a very tough time.
It was.
But it is what it is, and I feel like that really molded me to really just step into myself, and just like, it took a long time. I was really fighting some demons in my head, like just trying to, convince myself like this is okay type thing. So
I was also trying to convince you that this is okay, even though a part of me was also like, I don't know how my parents are going to accept this. I knew in the back of my head, my parents, although super conservative, or not super conservative, but I mean also growing up conservative, and dealing with the interracial relationship at first, I was like, oof, I don't know how this is going to go down. Like, this is now a whole nother ball game.
Absolutely.
So I was also afraid.
And you also had like trauma from your previous, like, how they dealt with your interracial relationship, and you were like, I'm sure, like, oh my word, I'm going to have to go through this again.
I didn't want to also disappoint them, because I know... And I'm basically speaking for my parents, but I know that when you're young, or you're a baby, or you're born, they, as parents, have this idea
of what it should be, and like how...
Yes, and bless their souls. I mean, what it should be is also the only thing they knew. Absolutely,
and that's also the only thing we kind of knew.
Honestly, yeah.
Growing up, I had no representation, like...
Me neither.
I mean... definitely I maybe with older, I think I met like growing up like older men that were gay.
Yes, also my sister had a really, really, really amazing friend, Roo. And he was just honestly, I think if it wasn't for him, I also wouldn't have felt like, oh, how can I introduce this to my parents?
Yeah.
He was he messaged me on Facebook the one day, and he was like, Mikey, I am so proud of you,
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
Just be yourself, and just be out there, and just be proud of it, because it is so
Okay.
normal. What is normal
Yeah.
even in today's time? But it is so
Exactly.
okay. Like,
Yeah.
love who you want to love. Be who you want to be, Just rock it. And I think he was also a big part of the reason why my parents honestly came to the table, because he's super successful and he really he is who he is, and he's unapologetically himself. And my parents saw that, you can be whoever you want to be and still have a great life, still be successful, do what you want to do.
Absolutely.
It is harder at some points in your
Oh
life.
no, it comes with its own challenges. And
As I feel like everything does.
Everything, absolutely. And just to, actually mention, this was all in 2017. So we are now in 2026. So this is 9 years ago.
Yeah.
So before that, maybe there were, like growing up, I just think because I didn't see women that were together, I was like, maybe, like, are there even women? Like,
are they lesbians?
Are they lesbians? Yeah, that's the word, basically.
Lesbians out there.
And that's also something that was playing in my head in the beginning, because I'm like, kind of what is going on with me, because I don't really see other people, and like everyone's kind of like, okay, you find a man and you get married and you have kids, like this is the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
So it was really tough in the beginning. And yeah, like, really what was like the turning point, I would say, was Christmas
of 2017.
2017 Christmas. So we obviously expressed our feelings June, so that was like 6 months later. Still we were hiding everything. And at that point, like, our feelings obviously got a lot stronger. And I remember, like, Christmas, we had a bunch of family over, and my phone was actually like on charge, it wasn't with me. And I just was chatting to my family, and like at a moment in the day, like I remember looking at my mom, and she just had this look in her face, like I knew, like. And I went upstairs to go look for my phone, and when I went upstairs, like my phone wasn't on charge anymore, and I was like, oh shit, like. So I came back downstairs, and she still wanted to just be like, there's family here, she's not going to talk to me now, but she read messages on my phone, and what the actual fuck? Sorry, that was basically the response, and my heart just sank, because firstly, like, being outed, like, and not having the opportunity to really out yourself, or not out yourself, but just express yourself. That's a really not a nice feeling, because it's like all these emotions are going through your head, like, should I have just said something earlier? Like, I wish I just approached this and didn't hide it, because then it's also like proving kind of to her that I have been lying to her, and I think that's for any parent, like,
that's the
hearing
hardest.
That your child has been lying to you for months. Because I do also think, like, even before Christmas, in that time period, she definitely also picked up on a few, yeah, and she picked up on a few things, and I would always just be like, no, we're just friends, like, da-da-da. And she obviously, I think, knew, but she didn't want to know. And then when she read the messages, it was terrible. And when the family left, she told me that she's going to be calling Ame's mom.
On that point,
this was on Christmas Day.
Literally.
Okay, Christmas Day, where, it's a family day, like, good vibes, like.
My parents are extremely, like, they love Christmas. Christmas is the most important time of the year for my mom and my dad.
Absolutely,
and our family.
It's a very sacred time.
Yes.
So, and I was devastated, like, crying my eyes out, like, just like, please, like, don't do this, like, it's Christmas. And she really didn't give a fuck. She didn't give a fuck. She was just like, I don't care, like, and I remember sitting there and like hearing her call her, and basically
I was in the bath at the time. I'll never forget it. I was taking a bath. It's my favorite thing in the world to do. And I was just chilling, and like I could hear a phone call come through in my mom's bedroom. And at first I didn't think anything of it. I thought it's Christmas. People are calling to say Merry Christmas, blessings to the family and what. And it was not that type of phone call.
Oh, no.
I could hear my mom's bedroom door closing. And when that happens in our household, like all our serious convos would happen in my mom's bedroom. So if she calls you to the bedroom, it's going down. You know, if that bedroom door is closing and she's on the phone or she's talking to someone or with someone, you know it's a serious discussion. And I heard that door closing and I was like, something in me just felt like...
You also knew.
I knew, and I also like, I bath with my phone, and I was trying to text you at the time, and
the messages,
it went through, but usually you replied within the minutes. Like, we were, earlier in the day, we were actually chatting before you let me know that you put your phone on charge, and you're going to go down for...
That's also how she came across, because she maybe wanted to just go, like, you know, obviously that is a bit of an invasion of privacy, but... You know, she's my mom, like at the end of the day, we don't have kids, so it's like, as a mom, like she was paying my phone, like technically, like she had some
ownership, I guess,
but I think what also, there must have been messages that had come through from you on that day, so she maybe
while
didn't
she was
even
on the phone, looking at the texts.
Exactly, and I think that's when, you know, she was like, oh, just flaming, and so she called her, and that was devastating for me. She ended up, you know, taking my phone away. There was no way for me to even contact Amay and just give her a heads up to be like, listen, like shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
No heads up. And that was probably one of the most traumatic days in my whole
life.
Like,
it
was
definitely the most traumatic day of my life too. Because I think also when your mom called my mom and relayed whatever messages she read, please don't hate me for this, but I do think your mom tried to paint the messages out as if they were explicit text, as if we were sending nudes to each other, or
I don't send nudes. We're not those type of people.
No, and I think that is what upset my mom too, because she then thought, what are these girls sending to each other? Like, why are they being so irresponsible? Like, why not just come to us, talk to us? Because my parents are super, like, I can talk to my mom and my dad about anything and everything. And I think you had that same relationship.
I had the same everything. Like,
this was the first thing. I could speak about my interracial relationship. It was hard, but this was the first thing, because I myself didn't know what was going on. Is this even something worthy? That sounds terrible, but is it even worthy to bring up and upset everybody and make this a thing?
If you don't even know, like, is this just a fling, or like just...
Is it going to pass?
Just experimenting, like people say.
Yeah. And I think what hurt my mom the most was that, same as your mom, we didn't come to them ourselves.
Exactly.
We weren't honest from the get-go, which now I can see 100%.
Why they were upset with that,
100%.
because, you know, having been asked straight up, like, what's going on, is there something going on, and saying, no. Meanwhile, it actually was, you know, I was just so scared. I was honestly scared.
And because your mom was so, sorry for cutting you off, because your mom was so religious as well, I think she almost painted it out to be worse than it actually was, because it's wrong in God's eyes, or she definitely, there was a part of her that tried to explain to my mom that I was manipulating you into a lesbian relationship.
Exactly.
This is not who her daughter is.
She just couldn't believe.
She couldn't,
like, there's no way. There's no way. You know?
And honestly, that is what threw my mom, because my mom was like, don't I know my daughter? Like, is this the way I raised my daughter? Is to manipulate someone, or, you know, force them into something they don't want to be in?
Exactly.
Did I raise an unhonest, what do you call it? Like dishonest, English, a dishonest child? Like, this is not how I raised my other two kids, you know? And she came to me and she was like, ons moet praat. I was like, oof, now I know. And she called my dad to the bedroom as well. No, firstly, she called me to the bedroom. Sorry, got that wrong. She spoke to me exactly about what happened. She didn't necessarily wanted me to show her the text, but she did ask out about it. And I told her, period. Like, there was no nudes, there was no sexual stuff being spoken. It was literally just like, I miss you, I wish I was with you on Christmas, and
like, I really love you, like, stuff like that.
I'll talk to you later, we can call later. Like, it was a lot of hearts and a lot of, like, in love,
like, you're
emojis.
beautiful and stuff like that. And you could definitely see, like, by reading the text, even though it was not explicit, you could see like that was more than a friendship.
Yeah, and my mom was also upset because she said, if I had told her myself and your mom had called and she already knew,
she could be like, oh, I know.
Yes, but then she had to lie to Radine's mom and be like, oh, yes, I know, and it's fine. And she wanted to diffuse the situation, I think also for the two of us, because she didn't want the repercussions or the consequences to be, because she can only imagine what we already feel inside, and now having to deal with this. She was more upset about that.
Yeah.
And she told me straight up, she's like, okay, so after us talking now, you're going to go to your dad. And he was sitting on the stoop outside. Those that know Brombeer would know.
Stoop is like the patio.
Yeah, that's where he sits all the time and reads the newspaper. And she's like, one thing, you're going to go tell your dad. I don't want to have anything to do with this. That's your story to tell.
It's on you, honey. Yeah.
That was a tough one. And I went to go sit on the couch and I just started crying. And my dad is a very stoic person, but he still gives off super welcoming, even though he's a little bit stoic and a little bit more inward. He's not as loud and energetic and as we are.
A man van min woorde.
Yes, but when he does say something, it'll either hit you right here or you would laugh your pants off. So it's either one of the two. And he replied to me when I said, like, I need to talk to you about something super serious. And he's like, I'm listening. And I just said, Radine, and we're best friends. And honestly, like,
it developed into something
more than friends. And then her mom just called mom on, like, Christmas Day, like, literally an hour ago. And basically relayed all these things to her. And my dad at first was like, are you happy? That's the first question he asked me. Are you happy? And I said, yes, I am. And he asked, is it a happy relationship, like between the two of you? Are you guys happy with each other? Is it healthy? Is it serving you? And I said, yes, I really think it is serving me. Yeah. And he said, you can do whatever you want, just not under my roof. And
that's a tough one.
That was the hardest pill to swallow, because that pulls back to our previous conversation about them accepting me and loving me
unconditionally, yes.
But then telling me not under your roof. Like, it was
a tough one. And
super
honestly, after that whole, I had no phone, like basically just everything was taken from me, like my car keys, like my bank cards, like it was rough, like even my ID. And I'm like, that is literally like, that is your identification, like taking away your ID. I'm like, what do you mean actually? And I was just devastated to the point where I thought I'm never going to see her again. Yeah. Like my mom wanted to take me out of university. She's like, you're not going back there. You're not going.
You ran away that night.
Yes. I basically, the fight got so intense and so heated that, because first she was like, I was like, I'm going to pack my bags and go. And then I tried to start packing my clothes. And she was like, no, you can leave the clothes. Like, I bought those clothes. Like, you can go with the clothes on your body. So I was like, cool, I'm going to go with nothing. And then when I wanted to leave, she basically locked the door and was like, no, you're not going anywhere. So I'm like, you're telling me I should go, but then you're also... So it was really, really heated. And then we were just screaming and shouting.
How did you get out that night?
So basically, obviously, we were very heated. And then at some point, she had to go to the bathroom. Like, she went to pee.
Oh, wow.
And in the moment that she went to pee, my stepdad and I were also, going at it. And he was saying horrible things to me. And I literally told him, fuck you, honestly. And I went out, we stayed at a place that it had, a patio outside, by the braai, and it was on the water. So the front part, the homes, they were all kind of connected with grass. So I was just I'm out, and my mom was still in the bathroom, and I literally walked out to the front and I walked around the house, and I had a friend that stayed up the street. just like went, like obviously devastated. I'm like, what am I gonna do? And like, I don't have a phone. There's like, I don't have anything. I don't have even an ID, my bro. Like, I had nothing.
Bank account, bank
everything,
card, nothing.
car keys, everything. And I just went to my friend's house, and I remember walking in there like just hysterical. And I'm like, can I please use your phone? And she's like, yes, of course, of course. Ended up calling my dad. Now, mind you, my dad is literally in America. Okay, we're in South Africa. Like, thinking back, like, what was he supposed to do in that moment? But that was like the only thing I could resort to. And basically went on Facebook, because obviously this friend is not going to have my dad's number. Went on Facebook, like Facebook called him, like call until he answered. It was the middle of the night, like they were sleeping. I'm just like hysterical,
Blowing
like this
up
is just
phone.
what happened, like you know, mom did this and this and that, and like just, you know, he was obviously trying to calm me down, and he's like, just take a breath, like everything's gonna be okay. And like he really in that moment supported me as much as he can, like from, you know, just America, like as much as he could. And yeah, you know, I eventually, the sun started setting, and I had no other option as to go back, because I'm like, yes, I'm at this friend's house, but I don't have any clothes, like I don't have any money, like I don't have a car, I don't have anything, I don't have a phone, like I literally have nothing. I was just with what I was wearing, and I basically had to go back. And that was honestly one of the hardest things, because, you know, obviously my pride, like I didn't want to swallow that pride, but I had to swallow it. And I just I went home, and yeah, she opened the door, and I was just crying, and I was like, you know, I'm sorry, like kind of just had to swallow all and every emotion that I have, and just basically go back. And yeah, I really thought like that was it, like, you know, I gaan nooit weer vir jou sien nie.
That was hard.
That was very, very tough.
Because I remember that holiday I worked at Soul Cafe, Mishy's dad's coffee shop.
Mishy's
she's back in the episode. And that next morning I worked on Boxing Day after it happened.
Oh my
and my mom just told me, you're going to work. I don't love you lots, but if this is the life you want to lead, go make your own money, girl. And I went to work, and I spoke to Mishka about what happened, and Mishka was like, do you want to call her? And I still remember I called you from the Soul Cafe.
But how did you call me? Because
I have no idea, but I remember calling you and letting you know that...
I think in that moment I was like so... Because, you know, I had nothing. So I think in that moment I was just trying to convince her, like, I'll never have contact with you again, and like, I'm sorry, and like just really apologizing, and like, you know, this is something we can put behind us, and like, I'm sorry 500 million times. And I think eventually she kind of gave in, like, you know, I had to like block her number and basically like, you know, delete everything.
That's why I called you from Soul Cafe's phone, basically, so that the number is not recognized. And we spoke for like 20-30 minutes about what is happening while I'm at work. Might I add, Mishka was like, I'm going to cover for you, don't stress. And I stood outside, and I just spoke to you, and we tried to figure out like, what are we going to do next? And you were just honest, and you told me, I'm sorry, but like,
I don't have another option. Like, my mom wants to take me out of university. Like, I'm not going back to Isa Damas courses. Like, my car is gone, everything is gone. Like, I'm sorry, like, you know. And at that point, my main goal was just, because I'm like 1 year into my 3-year studies, like, you know, I've done all, and like, when she was like, I'm taking you out of university, I was literally like, you cannot do this, you know. And I think, honestly, Kuru, my dad, he came in clutch, because I remember he still told her, there's no fucking way that you're taking her out of university.
Because he also helped with paying your studies.
Exactly. And
he was like, I'm not going to lose that money. No. Also, 1, and 2, my child deserves an education.
Exactly. So I think if it wasn't for him that basically said like, she is going back. I probably wouldn't have gone back, you know, even though...
But your mom did tell you you're not going back to Isa.
No. So...
And she also called the Korshuismoeder and told her, like, the Korshuismoeder can let me know, I'm not welcome to come back, basically.
Which was so weird because I also didn't go back to Isa Damas courses. So it's like.
But I don't think at first it was you were going to go back.
Mm-hmm.
At first it was that. And then that I cannot come back, basically.
Yes.
And this I hear a week before I need to come back to college, okay? Now, the people that know that live in Stellenbosch, you don't get an apartment in Stellenbosch in 7 days. You don't get into a res.
That's affordable.
You don't get into a res by letting them know in 5 days, oh, I need to move in this weekend.
It takes months of planning.
I had to call one of my friends and I was like, bro, my mom told me that if I can't go back to Isa, I'm done. Like, I'm done. And this is after I had switched from my one...
Oh my word,
so
switching courses.
Literally, it was in my time switching courses that I'm starting
drama.
over. Yeah. And now I can't go back to my res. Even my roommate at the time, Almay, was like, what do you mean you're not coming back? Like, she was ready for a second year with me or a third year with me, a second year with me as a roommate. And it was I just told her straight up, like, girl, there's some big trouble at home. I'm not allowed to come back to the res and I'm actually going to go... I'm going to go have to couch surf for a little bit. And one of my friends, bless his soul, he told me straight up, my apartment is across from the drama department. I have a sleeper couch. You are more than welcome to come and stay there for as long as you possibly can. And obviously, I'm not going to overstay my welcome. So it was about a month or two.
And you started looking, obviously, for apartments and stuff like that. And
come to find out, you didn't even go back to Isa. So I could have actually gone back and stayed
at the res.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But it worked out for the best. It honestly did work out for the best.
It did, because I kind of honestly got a bit of an upgrade. Like at Isa Damas courses, I was in a room with 3 other girls. Like, you know, we're sharing everything.
Yeah.
Where the place I moved into, Nassau, that was like, you would have your own room and it's only you in your room, with, you know, it was a single bed, but still it was like, it felt like a mini apartment, but you would just be sharing like bathrooms. I remember that. But it was also like, there was only maybe like 8 people in a hallway, and there were like 3 or 4 bathrooms per hallway. So it was almost like you were maybe like, I never went to shower and there were like other people waiting to shower. Whereas with Isa,
always waiting.
This was literally like a stone's throw from where I was studying. So it was even closer than Isa Damas courses. So it really, it worked out for the best. And I remember, because we went around looking also, you know, different apartments, stuff like that. And, or not apartments, it was apartments, and it was also just like, budget-wise, like this was just the best place.
Because it was in the same time I had to find a place, basically. Like your mom said, you're actually also not going back to Isa. We're going to look for something else. Literally. And you had to find something within 2 weeks. Literally a week and a half.
Thank goodness they had a room there, moved in there, and that was honestly a really fun time.
It was, but it was also the 9-month period that we had no contact.
Yes,
so it wasn't that fun.
Yeah, no, it was definitely, I think we probably tried to see each other 1 or 2 times.
We did.
But it was just, if you think that I was scared or in the closet before, after that, oh my word, it was like literally I had so much anxiety, just, you know, the thought of like meeting up with you, it was tough. So 9 months went by.
Honestly, I think you told me earlier, do you know in those 9 months I almost went on to like your WhatsApp or your Instagram every single day to see if you've unblocked me? Girl, sorry, I need to burp. Sorry, excuse me. I did the same thing. And the person that I basically couch surfed on before I found an apartment within 2 months maybe, they were like, you need to stop. Like, you need to let that go now. Yeah. You need to move on with your life. Like, her parents are not accepting of this. You need to move on. But he was also not trying to tell me, like, don't be gay or don't be a lesbian. He was just trying to tell me, like, you're looking for trouble, trying to go back to Rudine. because it is just going to be turmoil. It is just going to end in a disaster. So honestly, for those 9 months up until my birthday, August of that year.
So 9 months we went without, so basically a year. And in that time, same thing. I was basically every day going onto WhatsApp, like, has she unblocked me? Has she unblocked me? And I think probably at like month 8,
maybe at like month 6, we made contact, because remember you came to sleep over one night where I was couch surfing?
Yes, but no, that was in the early stages.
They were like month 2 or month 3.
Yes,
when I was still couch surfing, you came to sleep over one night. Okay, something told me, and I know we had this discussion earlier too, something told me, and I'm not like that, okay? I'm not someone to go on anyone's phone, but I had a feeling that night. She just said, I'm going to come over. I need to see you. It was in the time that we were still blocked. I don't know. We walked into each other in Bohemia, and we just connected, and we stayed connected for that day, just that one day only. And I said, just come sleep over. I just need, I need to hold you. I need to kiss you. I just need you with me. And something told me to look on your phone.
Yeah.
There was notifications coming through.
From a guy. Yeah.
No, but hold up on the story. There was notifications coming through on her phone like 3 a.m. in the morning. And I was like, what? Like, who's trying to get a hold of you?
That was over February because it was Valentine's Day.
Oh, yes, it was Valentine's Day. And I honestly didn't want to go on your phone initially. I wanted to turn the loudness off. I wanted to turn the sound off. And as I picked up the phone to turn the sound off, I just saw these messages coming through. Also with loving faces and hearts and what. I opened those messages and it was scrolling weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of chats between her and a guy.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
I remember feeling cheated on, even though in her defense, I was blocked on everything.
I thought I was never going to see her again.
Yeah. So I understand you had a whole different view of it, and I get that.
And I was trying to also convince myself, okay, maybe I'm not a lesbian.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like maybe I just need to jump, like
double
I need to
back
be with
into it. Yeah,
guy,
dabble with it again.
And then when I saw you that night, like it's just, and it was kind of too late at that point because I had already been chatting to someone. And then obviously when I saw her again after not seeing her for months, I was like, that just connection was just there.
Yeah,
and
it never went away. But when I saw those chats, Rue, I'm not going to lie.
No,
it brought back, because with my previous relationship, I was extremely heavily cheated on. And that just brought back all that trauma. Yeah. And that's why I maybe felt cheated on, but it wasn't necessarily that. But I still feel like even though we weren't together and we thought we were never going to see each other again, I still felt like we were still connected.
Absolutely.
We were still supposed to be loyal to each other in some sort of way.
And I get that, you know, thinking, because we had such a strong connection.
Yes.
And I do believe, like, if the place that I'm in now, you know, I've come a long way with just...
Kudos to you, baby.
Oh, thank you, baby. Like, just really... I'm true to myself now. I know, you know, who I love who I love. But at that time, I was so vulnerable, and I was just like almost trying to, because I would tell, so crazy really, but I would literally, when I started speaking to this guy, I was telling my mom, like, I've met a guy, like, and obviously just to diffuse the whole situation, and she obviously was happy to hear that, which is so crazy. But anyway, so I think it was a lot of like trying to just convince her, like, I'm not a lesbian, like, you know, look, I'm speaking to this guy, and in Amaze's defense, like, just, you know, she obviously was like still connected and
I was hooked on you, boo. I was so hooked on you. That night, I remember waking you up at like 3-4
and you were like, you need.
I was like, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, take your phone, take your clothes, get out of here. Yeah. And I think that's the night also that the person that I was couch surfing at, he was just a little bit like, unfortunately, this is toxic. This is too much for him. I need to find a place. And I remember that was like my little push I needed when I went on Facebook to look for an apartment. Is someone looking for a roommate? And that is where I found Yola.
Yoli. Man, and it's so funny actually, because before that, I had actually been friends with Yola.
Yeah.
They had never met, and I remember.
No, we have met, but we've met in grade 9.
Oh,
that was like
got you. Yeah,
6
yes.
years earlier, 5 years earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were also in Bohemia. All roads lead back to Bauhaus. We were sitting in Bauhaus, and Yola was there, and she told me, like, I found a roommate, May. And I remember, like, turning, I'm like, what did you just say? And she's like, yeah, like, she reached out to me on Facebook, and in that moment, like, my heart just sank, because obviously, you know, but also people didn't really know, like, what went down, you know, and I was like, no fucking way.
We were super private. We were trying to keep it, just
Yes.
diffuse everything, because we
You know.
didn't want to deal with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And obviously after that night, 9 months, because she was just like, and I totally 180% understand why you felt that way. You felt betrayed, like hurt. And, you know, just you were like done, like that's where the 9 months started.
I needed to cut it to be able to move on healthily. And then if there is still feelings there, or if there was still, but I mean, after a period of time where I know or knew that I gave myself enough time to deal with the trauma, this is not actually what happened. You know, she was in this period of her life going through this with her mom. She needs to figure out herself too. I got to the terms where maybe she wasn't necessarily cheating on me. She was just trying to also, this was a way of diffusing the situation.
Oh, yes.
And when I moved in with Yola, it was like, Yola told me straight up, you need to put yourself out there. You need to, if you want to completely and honestly and truly move on, you need to put yourself out there and try and see if this is really it. Like, if you are really...
Yeah, because I think you actually were with 1 or 2 people in that
Yes,
time period,
yes.
even though it was just flingy.
Yeah, super flingy. Like,
Yeah,
it was just not you.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be honest. It was not you. And after I had a birthday in August. My birthday's in August.
Mind you, in that 9 months, I was going, I think that's where the 9 months started after that night.
Oh, yeah.
And then every day, you know, I was going on, did she unblock me? Did she unblock me? Da-da-da-da. And then, honestly, at like month 8 out of the 9 months, like literally a month before you texted me, I just eventually woke up one day and I'm like, I am making myself go insane. Like, I cannot...
Same.
Every day for 9 months, I was going, and I'm like, Redeem.
I did the same thing.
No, now I obviously know, you know, but at that time, I'm like, you just need to suck it up.
Let it go.
I was heartbroken, and I was like, just let it go. Like, it is what it is. This is never going to be a thing, and, you know, that was like a heartbreak for me.
And I had a birthday party where I didn't invite you to, which I really wanted to invite you to. But I had a really good friend, a guy friend at the time. And we always used to have like deep conversations. And this was in the time that you basically decided you're going to move on now and you're going to face the facts. I basically came to it's like God knew. I came to a point where I was like, actually, I'm not ready to move on. Actually, you are the person I want to spend the rest of my life with.
And you were like saying this to him.
Yes, I told him that at my birthday, and he was like, what the fuck are you waiting for then? Like, who are you waiting for, firstly? Why are you waiting? Like, life is too short. You need to let her know now. We were a little bit intoxicated, so I was like, I'm just going to wait for the weekend to pass. And I got back to Stellenbosch, I think it was the Sunday or the Monday after that weekend, my birthday weekend, and I unblocked you.
And I think still, even though, because I told myself, like, I'm going to move on, but I don't know why, like, randomly, you know, obviously being in that habit of, like, checking every day, I just randomly, I was like, I just went onto your name and I saw your profile picture. And
that meant
you unblocked me.
I unblocked her. And I think we might end the episode right here.
That's a wrap for episode 3.
Yes, bye.